you know, so I usually do my homework. I'll find somebody who knows somebody or something. They could give me some information, like, who is it? Like, who is he? And, you know, Frenchie, they got me the tape. They got me the tape of his mother's house, where his mom's work at. You know what I'm saying? The other cribs, the studios, stuff like that.
That's the Cali tape.
Right.
Okay.
50 Cent ain't letting French Montana breathe for a second. The man got trolling loaded like ammo, ready to fire whenever French's name pops up online. But this time, 50's shade cracked open way more than just a petty feud. It sparked whispers about French Montana's real moves behind the scenes. See, French ain't just ducking drama in the industry. He might be running straight into something even scarier: the glittering but dangerous grip of Dubai royalty. Headlines read like a dream: French Montana engaged to a Dubai princess worth $18 billion. To the casual fan, that sounds like the ultimate glow-up, going from street-level Kobo vibes to rubbing shoulders with kings. But when you peel back that shiny surface, the story gets messy real quick. Word is, French's so-called fairy tale engagement ain't all about romance, it's about survival. With Diddy still tangled up in heavy federal heat and investigators supposedly circling everyone tied to those wild bad boy freak-offs, French allegedly knew he needed an escape plan. Dubai looked like the perfect hiding spot, but paradise comes with shadows too. Insiders who know Dubai's darker side will tell you plain. Yes, the towers touch the sky, the cars sparkle with diamonds, and the money flows like rivers. But behind those gold gates, rumors about certain royals have been floating for years. They say some of those same billion-dollar names carry appetites that leave even the boldest men shaking. This mess is so wild, it makes Hollywood scandals look like kids' cartoons. The whispers about Dubai princes collecting pretty boys and Western celebs being flown out for things too messy to even type out didn't just pop up yesterday. Those rumors been circling for years. So when folks see French Montana, a man known for chasing bags, partying heavy, and staying close to powerful men when it benefits him, suddenly lock arms with a princess and fall into a $7 billion safety net, people can't help but do the math. And that math is screaming convenience, not coincidence. It's not that fans don't think he could be in love. It's that survival looks like the real motivation here. And this is exactly why 50 Cent's trolling cuts deep. When he says French got bought, it ain't just about some shiny engagement ring. It's about the idea that French traded one master for another. He bolted from Diddy's storm only to possibly land in a cage with a much fancier lock. Think about it. In Diddy's world, French had to move carefully under a man with influence and connections. But in Dubai, if those whispers about certain princes hold any truth, French might have just stepped into something even more permanent. Dubai royalty doesn't play short-term games. They don't move on. They don't cut deals. They hold power for life. So now that $7 billion escape plan doesn't look like salvation at all. It looks like a gilded trap, a glittering cage where French might have bought himself time. But the price tag could be way higher than anyone expected. Let's spin it back for a second. You can't really understand why French Montana bolted to Dubai without first breaking down how he even ended up in Bad Boy's circle in the first place. French didn't just drop Pop That and magically land a golden ticket. The story behind his signing always carried a strange odor. And now, with all the dirt that's exploded about Diddy these past 2 years, people are looking back with fresh eyes and sharper questions. Here's what many forget. When French was hunting for a major deal, he wasn't some starving mixtape rapper with no clout. He had real options on the table. Roc Nation showed interest. Rick Ross and MMG were circling heavy. Even Kanye's camp had their eyes on him. And yet, out of all those powerhouses, French parked himself at Diddy's table. Why? That's the million-dollar question. Because let's be real, Bad Boy wasn't famous for taking care of artists. They were infamous for broken contracts, shady deals, and, let's just say, extra requirements that had nothing to do with recording music. For years, the whisper said Bad Boy wasn't just a label, it was a lifestyle. And for certain artists, that lifestyle was the real currency. The word in the streets? Diddy gave French more than just a contract. He handed him keys to the mansion parties, the endless women, the so-called freak-offs, and the unspoken deal. Play nice, and the rewards will follow. That was the trade-off. Music was only half the business. The other half was surviving the culture behind closed doors. And fans have been side-eyeing ever since. First off, French himself admitted he took less money up front than what Ross or Jay-Z were willing to offer, yet he still picked Puff. That raised eyebrows immediately. Second, every time French was spotted stumbling out of those infamous bad boy villas looking half alive, the internet kept receipts. Clips and photos from 2016 through 2019 showed French looking drained, and the timing always matched up with Puff's wild weekend celebrations. Things only got nastier after Diddy's arrest in 2024, when producers and old associates started spilling about what it really took to lock down a deal. One producer even swore Diddy blackballed him for refusing to join one of those so-called freak-offs. So when people look back at French's sudden rise, the whispers wrote the script for him. Oh, you stayed and took that deal? Then we know what that means. Now, no one's pulled out an official receipt with French's name printed on it. But the circumstantial tea is scalding hot. Let's not forget, Diddy gifted him that Ciroc French vanilla flavor the very next day after they were allegedly partying all night. There's also that viral birthday clip where Puff is lounging in a robe, French is shirtless, and both of them are looking way too comfortable for casual friends. And then there's French himself, openly saying he wanted the big bag. And Puff was the only one bold enough to hand it over. To fans, the math ain't mathing. The picture it paints is louder than any paperwork. To the casual eye, it looked like just another label signing. But to the streets, it looked like a man willing to pay a personal price just to climb higher. And that's exactly why folks believe French might be running the same play in Dubai. Once you show you're down to trade dignity for opportunity, people assume you'll do it again. Only this time with a bigger bag and a different master. And here's where the rabbit hole gets wild. In mid-2024, French suddenly pops up at Paris Fashion Week, not just flexing a new fit, but allegedly flexing a fiancé. And not just any fiancé, Chiara, a princess connected to Dubai's ruling family. Baby, that's no ordinary Bronx love story. That's a chessboard move with royalty as the queen piece. See, the timing was way too sharp to ignore. Around that same moment, the feds were stacking evidence on Diddy like a mountain. The freak-off tapes, the trafficking whispers, the money laundering talk. Anybody tied to Diddy became radioactive. Artists, assistants, producers, even casual homies were catching subpoenas left and right. And French, he wasn't just another face in the background. He was practically Diddy's shadow. The birthday trips, the champagne endorsements, the endless cosigns. French was always right there in the frame. If prosecutors really wanted to lock down their case, his name was guaranteed to come up. So what does French do? He doesn't just lay low, doesn't just hop on a flight. He attaches himself to one of the richest, most untouchable families in the Middle East. That's not escape, that's strategy.
What I actually learned, a friend of mine is an air hostess, and her friend was on a flight with her, and her friend was eating like a very specific diet. So apparently the thing is, it's actually a control thing. I don't know if I can speak about sheikhs.
No, speak.
So these guys actually pay these women to hold a strict diet for like 2 weeks so that they can know that they are in complete control of what that woman is putting into her body, and the girl is shit on them.
Wow.
So the girls aren't even getting shit on, the girls are shit on these guys, because then the guys feel like it's sick, like it's a control thing. So then they know, like, oh, you listened to me for 2 weeks.
Yeah, so that's probably their kink, that girls actually listen to them.
No 2-minute noodle.
No, but a dangerous kind of strategy that could cost him more than he bargained for. The Shaka's family ain't just rich. They're oil empire rich, sitting on a fortune north of $18 billion. That's the kind of generational wealth where a $7 billion dowry barely makes them blink. And when you marry into that, you don't just get a fat bank account. You get protection, a new passport, and a home in a country that doesn't play when it comes to outsiders trying to dig into their business. That's why the streets are whispering French ain't chasing love, he's chasing survival. Look at the timing. The engagement came out of nowhere, lining up a little too perfectly with the federal heat back in the States. Add to that how French has been spending way more time flexing in Dubai than touching down in New York or LA. To fans, it looks like a whirlwind fairy tale romance. To critics, It screams escape plan dressed up in Cartier jewels and luxury vows, and the optics don't lie either. Every time French posts flicks with his princess, he's looking cleaner, sharper, almost like he hit the reset button on his whole image. But scroll down to the comments. They stay messy. Boy, you traded in Diddy for Dubai. Or the even colder jab, better hope them sheikhs don't treat you like Puff did. Here's the kicker. French thinks he leveled up by running to Dubai, but those who know how Middle Eastern royalty move will tell you straight. Sometimes you don't escape the fire. You walk into a bigger, hotter one. And this is the part French probably don't want to hear. Running from Uncle Sam into the arms of the UAE doesn't always equal freedom. It could mean he just signed himself into a brand new kind of contract, one with no exit clause. Dubai sells itself as Lambos, sky-high towers, and pet tigers chilling on yachts. But behind that glossy postcard image, the whispers have always been ugly. Influencers fly in wide-eyed, chasing tax-free glam and luxury, only to sneak back spilling tea about palace parties where people were treated less like guests and more like props. Men and women both, allegedly. Some royals don't view outsiders as equals. They see them as playthings. And when you walk into that world broke compared to their billions, you don't set the rules. They do. Now picture French Montana standing next to Sheikh Amara's family, sitting on an $18 billion fortune. In their world, he's not a powerhouse. He's ornamental. Famous enough to bring some shine, but not wealthy or politically strong enough to push back if things ever turn sideways. To critics online, it doesn't look like French escaped Diddy at all. It looks like he upgraded to new handlers, only this time the palaces are bigger, and the rules come with way heavier consequences. No more freak-offs in Miami, now it's private villas in Dubai, where the spotlight burns hotter and the family name carries global weight. And this family, they're no strangers to scandal. Remember Sheikh Amara's viral Insta-divorce in 2024? She shocked the world by dropping her husband with 3 words, "I divorce you," a rare public act of defiance in royal circles. Admirable? Sure. But also proof that royal life behind the curtain is way messier than outsiders imagine. And let's not forget the darker side. Her own relatives were tied up in major controversies, from Princess Latifah's failed escape attempt to headlines that shook royal reputations worldwide. Princess S's alleged abduction, all tied, allegedly, to her own father, the autocrat ruler of Dubai and French's brand new father-in-law. Suddenly, that shiny fairy tale engagement starts looking cracked. Because when power that heavy moves against you, freedom isn't promised. It's borrowed. That's exactly why people online keep calling this French's $7 billion escape plan. On paper, it's genius. Marry obscene wealth, secure residency, and shield yourself under royal protection if the feds come knocking. But socially, whew, it's déjà vu all over again. For years, folks clowned French's Diddy's boy toy. The shirtless birthday serenades, the late-night dinners, the Ciroc gifts. And now the gossip mill says he didn't ditch that role, he just upgraded it. Only this time, instead of one sugar daddy, he's tied himself to a whole dynasty of sugar kings. The irony stings. Hip-hop once sold French as the gritty underdog hustler, Moroccan roots, Bronx hustle, Coke boy's pride. But Dubai royalty? They don't play like Bad Boy Records. You don't outshine them. You don't embarrass them. And you definitely don't outlive your usefulness. That's why critics say French didn't break free of a velvet leash. He just traded it for a golden cage. Sure, he might have stepped out of hot water in the States, but in Dubai, ooh, baby. He could be sitting right on the stove itself. And here's the gag in all this chaos. The loudest voice dragging French through the mud is 50 Cent. But pause for a second. What if 50's not just clowning? What if he's hinting at a bigger truth hiding under the jokes? What if 50 Cent ain't just clowning? What if he's really trying to warn French? You know how 50 moves? He's got that big brother vibe where he'll roast you nonstop but still low-key wants to see you win. He's been shading French for years, calling him washed up, calling him a Diddy leftover. But maybe, just maybe, he sees the trap French is walking straight into. A trap that doesn't come with chains, but still smells exactly like them velvet cages people whisper about in Dubai. But flip the script for a second. What if this ain't a trap at all? We're out here saying, damn bro, you sold your soul just for protection. But what if that's exactly what French wanted? Some men chase freedom, others chase comfort. Maybe French doesn't see himself as a prisoner in a palace. Maybe he sees himself as the chosen one, the Bronx kid who grinded mixtapes and now sleeps with gold-plated security, air conditioning, and a driver on call 24/7. What we might call hell, he might call heaven. That's why 50's jabs cut so deep. They're laced with uncomfortable truth. 50 built his name on independence, on owning his masters, on flipping street hustle into boardroom power. French, meanwhile, might have flipped survival into servitude. But who's really winning? The man still fighting every day to keep credibility in hip-hop? Or the man sipping tea behind palace gates, scandal-proof, untouchable, and sitting on $7 billion worth of insurance? It's messy, it's ironic, and it's the wild paradox French is living right now. To us, he looks like property, but to him, this might be the ultimate prize. And that's the twisted beauty of this whole saga. Nobody can fully agree on whether French Montana just saved his life or sold it away. On one hand, he looks untouchable now, wrapped in royal protection, dripping in luxury, and far removed from the chaos that's swallowing Diddy and his circle back home. On the other, he looks like a man who traded the streets, the hustle, and even his reputation for a golden leash. But here's where it gets spicier. 50 Cent isn't letting up one bit. He's still trolling, still clowning, still making sure French can't enjoy a single champagne toast without a meme attached to it. Every jab from 50 feels like more than comedy. It feels like a reminder. A reminder that no matter how shiny French's new life looks, the streets will never let him forget how he got there. And the bigger picture? It's bigger than French. His story opens the question of how many artists, influencers, or power players are willing to bend, trade, or outright sell themselves for protection when the walls start closing in. French might be the face of it now, but he won't be the last. So while fans debate whether he's living in heaven or stuck in a cage, the truth is simple. French Montana is playing one of the riskiest games in hip-hop history. And if even half the whispers about Dubai's darker side are true, this game doesn't end with a trophy. It ends with chains you can't see. He might feel like royalty now, and maybe that's the biggest twist of them all. 50 Cent can drag him every single day. The internet can clown his every move, but deep down, French Montana might just be smiling, because maybe this was the plan all along. From the Bronx corners to bad boy contracts, from Diddy's shadow to Dubai palaces, French flipped survival into strategy. And whether it looks like a trap or a triumph, only time will tell which side of history he lands on. So drop your thoughts in the comments. Is French living his best life or trapped in a golden cage? Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and share this video. We'll see you on the next one.